I believe that we are all born atheists. Religion is something that's taught into us. My father was a Catholic, my mother was a Catholic, but they all started moving towards softer Catholicism, less rigid. So we started going to more progressive churches, ones that don't require you to sit and stand and do all that stuff for 3 hours straight. A service that's under 2 hours. Well, it all started when I started living on my own, and I got unfettered access to the internet, which helped me start questioning really what's going on in this world. How can anyone claim to have a higher power that has their best interests at heart when there's so much suffering and injustice in this world? If you as a parent would want your child to grow up happy and healthy and well-educated and well-rounded, yes, suffering is part of it, but to the degree that humanity has to go through, that's cruelty. And just to allow things and to say that these are miracles, I just cannot abide by that. This kind of math just didn't work in my head, and I just stopped believing shortly after. Yes, I just came upon just a regular realization, as anyone does, and when they've said they've had enough, they've put all the eggs into one basket and just saw this as the omelet as it really is. That moment was when I was about 30 years old and was still like into spiritualism, but I no longer believed in a God. And this is after many internet posts and questioning things myself, asking questions that just people didn't have the answers I was satisfied with. Nowadays, I hold myself to a much higher standard, and I hold other people's answers to a much higher standard too. We all want something that is more intellectually honest and not just trying to answer a question to what makes you feel better. I don't want feelings, I want facts. My name is Joseph Theissen. I'm 35 years old. I ride the Atheist Underground.
There is no God. Then why are we whispering?
Stand by to receive our transmission. Logic clearly dictates.
If you're an atheist, scream atheist!
I mean, but what is an atheist?
An atheist is someone who doesn't quite believe that there is somebody out there, some God out there.
Well, then to me, you're an idiot.
From beautiful downtown Philadelphia in the state of apostasy, it's the Atheist Underground.
Not sure what's going on there.
Arriving in Freethinker Falls. Thank you for riding the Underground. This is Freethinker Falls.
F-R-E-E, that spells free.
You're all free now!
I feel free. I feel free. I feel free.
We are in Freethinker Falls. It's a suburb. It's a Tony suburb full of freethinkers, or pseudo-intellectuals, as we used to call them.
And falls.
Falls were created by by man, I think.
Or beavers.
Yeah, we are with you again. As always, I am the irreverend Rob. With me is Jason again. This time, however, it's unemployed cable guy Jason. What's going on, Jason?
Hi. I am gainfully employed again.
Not as a cable guy, really.
Not as a cable. So technically, I am still an unemployed cable guy.
Well, that's your bit now, so that's what we're calling you, no matter how many jobs you get. Yeah, Freethinker Falls, what do you think about that term, Freethinker?
It's a bit condescending.
How so?
Well, you're saying that everyone else is not a freethinker.
Do you think it fits the atheist movement otherwise? Is it a...
Not lately. Well, there's so many different fractured groups in atheism at the moment. Everyone picks their leaders to rally around and not really thinking freely. Just kind of using that same old...
It's the groupthink thing, right?
Yeah.
That the identity politics sort of, this is who I am, and this is how I have to think, kind of thing. I get that. My thing's always been the term invites like the Wiccans and the person who thinks that there's no God, but that spiritual minerals can heal her.
Mm-hmm.
Or the holistic medicine people, or whatever else is out there with the pseudoscience and the astrologists and everybody, that it tends to attract those people, at least initially, to some of the atheist meetings that we've been to, I think.
They would consider themselves free thinkers?
Yes, because they do. I mean, indeed, and they have their own personal philosophy, perhaps, that they've made up. The way that you, envision yourself spiritually, and the way that you conceive the mind that you have that's able to, sort of project that imagery and those thoughts of having a soul on itself. I went through that, but there's people who cling to that, right? Their whole lives, the California types, those New Agers who, crystals and meditation and
avocado toast.
Thank you, yeah, with maybe a picture of Buddha on it. I don't know, but they'll mix, they'll pull from different religions and kind of work their own philosophy, and that, to me, that's a free thinker. Should those people? I mean, to me, we kind of need them as allies, but do they fit really with the atheist movement?
Generally, they don't get along because they have that, we should respect everyone's religions, and that doesn't always match too well.
Good point. Did you ever meet Lauren, the guy that believed that all myths were true?
No.
He didn't think it was literal true, but he kind of saw it as all roads lead to the top of the mountain kind of way, where if your myth does for you what it should do, then it's just as valid as mine and all the other ones that have ever been. So in that way, and he would talk a little bit in circles to kind of, is he really an atheist? Or is he really a person who's in the secular movement for that reason? Or are they just a free thinker in terms of the fact that they just,
they're different?
They're different, yeah. And are they in? He ran afoul of the group by saying some things. So it's like, how much do we include them? Because we need them to vote on our side. We need them as a demographic. We need all those people who feel that their little religion is oppressed. They're all part of that. The neo-pagans, all the secular heathens.
The people that also care about separation of church and state.
Right, and don't want their little rights trampled in their little heathen ceremony. So how, where's the balance there? How do we include them all without pissing off the right-wing faction of the atheists, who see them as, their own little special interest, and keep them all happy with, the fact that we get grumpy when we deny any form of spiritualism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a certain fact-based aspect to most atheism that just doesn't mix with spirituality.
Right, evidence and fact, and you just, you got to prove it to me. Psychological evolution, right? I mean, it explains it all to me. It's quite clear that everything we think about, all that stuff, is just our way of framing the complexity of our thought patterns. If it wasn't for how evolved our brains were, we wouldn't be able to conceive of the God concept. So as far as free thinkers goes, the confusion started not that long ago. When you get to be old like me, you can think about 100 years ago and realize that, in 1870 or 1880 in Germany and England, when the free thought movement started, it was meant to be free of authoritarian dogma, free of the state church's prescribed dogma. So free thinker meant atheist, pure and simple. And I think that's lost now, and I'm not sure it's a valid term. I'm not sure we should really use it. I think we can court those people and maybe excise the term freethinker from the lexicon of secular euphemisms and synonyms. What do you think?
Seems unnecessary. Well, Alexa,
thank you, chiming in. That might have been God speaking at us.
Does not know the term. Oh boy. Alexa, shut off.
Feel when I dance with you. We move like the sea.
Buongiorno, motherfuckers. Wake up. It's a time to fry. In Hellmo's Underworld. Buongiorno a tutti bambini, this is Hellmo, and Hellmo's gonna bring you today Bobby, come si dice ABC? ABCs, dumbass. Oh, sì, grazie. ABC, we're gonna bring to you the ABCs of faith. Because when you think about it, every faith she's a begin as a free thought, in the beginning, you know? So, listen, learn. Everything you need to know about a religion, you're gonna learn right now in 26 letters. You can learn the ABC of faith, and you never have to pay attention again, okay? Here now is a young Bobby Science with Hellmo's ABCs of faith.
A is for atheist, leading the pack. B is for Buddha, who keeps coming back. C for creationist, lying to tots. D is for Darwin, connecting the dots. E for evangelist, bilking the poor. F is for faith, so we don't need any more. G is for guru, a teacher of Sikhs. H is for Haris and similar freaks. I is for Isis, who came before Mary. J is for Jewish, like Hanukkah Harry. K is for karma, that's coming around. L is for Lucifer, deep underground. M is for Muslims, who cover their ladies. N is for Neptune, brother of Hades. O for Osiris, who rose when deceased. P is for pedophile, also for priest. Q is for Quakers who landed in Philly. R, Roman Catholics grabbing your willy. S is for skeptic, also for Shinto. T is for Tao, which Taoists are into. U, Unitarians, who just can't let go. V is for voodoo, as most of you know. W, Wiccan, practiced by witches. X is for Christians, too big for their britches. Y for Yazidi, an ancient theism. And Z is for Zoroastrianism.
Hey, ciao everybody! And you can forget all about the church from now on, okay? Oh, this is one of Hellmo's favorites.
Alright, motherfuckers! It's time to go old school! So put on your thinking caps and get ready for full straight up!
The Atheist Underground is a public service of the Intellectual Transit Authority, moving your mind to places it was too weak to go by itself.
Come in! Well, look who's here! I haven't seen you in many a year. If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake, baked a cake, baked a cake. cake. If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake. Hot you do, hot you do, hot you do.
The cake thing.
Masterpiece cake.
This is different than the other cake thing, right? That was years ago.
This is, as far as I know, so this was a ruling the Supreme Court just passed down, which was 7-2. I didn't look at who voted where, but 2 seems a bit odd to me. That
it was the 2 women, wasn't it?
I would assume so.
That dissented. I think I read the list real quick.
I think it would be Sotomayor and the older one. What is Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Thank you, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah, clearly. I mean,
that's what I assume. I don't know for sure, but I would just assume those were the 2.
The whole thing's pretty disturbing, man. When you can really see that Trump's just using it to be like a game show, like a celebrity reality show. If it's getting him talked about, if it's catching headlines,
something he can tweet about.
Yeah, if it's just kind of controversial, he's willing to let it roll. The whole kneeling.
Yeah, and the ruling, I mean, it seems like the whole thing was predicated on they were mean to you in the council meeting that addressed him, having to bake this cake. They insulted your religion, which is basically the way they put it. So because of that, we don't care what the law says, but because we feel like they were insulting Christianity, then, well, you don't have to make the cake for the gay people.
Party pooper. No cake for you.
And I mean, it's always the test. Replace gay with black and see how far that would get you these days.
Yeah, how about it? What, so they were trying to say that the gay couple was being mean in the store.
Not even them. It was the council that ruled, and I'm using the word council. I might have been some other body, but basically the local
the selectmen, or the aldermen, or whoever.
Yeah, that originally decided this. Apparently, they were snarky about saying, and they said something like, religion is used to justify all sorts of things that we don't allow in society, like slavery and things like that. And because of that, they felt, well, they were being unfair to this guy's faith. So they're attacking his faith. And because of that, it falls under the RFRA, the Restoration of, Religious Freedom and Restoration Act. And then that's how they ruled, was, well, because they were snarky to the guy about Christianity's role in past transgressions
in the world.
Yeah, that because of that, that's why they ruled for him in this case, which makes no sense to me.
Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it, 'cause it took so long to bake it, and I'll never have that recipe again. Oh, no.
How much longer can the secular demographic rise in America, yet the government get more religious behind fundamentalists?
Well, they just use that.
Who stomp their feet.
Yeah, they say they're being persecuted.
Shut your cake hole, you Nazi!
And they're being oppressed, even though they're still by far the majority.
It's just remarkable how, with the rise in secular numbers, why we still aren't represented.
Yeah, there's only one.
A little bit more incrementally more.
Yeah, there's only one out atheist in Congress.
Yeah, it's like the atheists are letting, religious people fill political seats because we're apathetic, and people need to get the fuck out of their seats and do some shit, man. People need to get up and quit being lay around atheists. They need to do what you're doing, man, standing up, not sitting down for the podcast and and ripping a hole in it. Fuck these assholes. Louisiana passing the law that schools have to put in God We Trust. I got an email. I got to show you guys. I got a message from on the Atheist Underground messenger. Someone from Texas who's a teacher said that every teacher who is down there is like the one that I had to fight in Kenosha, and those are the only ones who get to keep their jobs. She stood up for her kid who wouldn't stand up for the pledge, and she got fired with no reason. She was a decorated teacher. She won the awards. She was a teacher in Texas who ended up being fired bold-facedly. They weren't even, undercover about why they fired her. And they're just like, and when she went to look for other jobs in other towns, they're like, if you don't love Jesus here, you don't belong here. They came right out and say that. This isn't Texas, people. It's America. And this is what's happening. If we're not vigilant and if we don't run for office, people who can do that, need to step up and do it and say you're atheist.
Yeah. The Christians really are a protected class at this point. And even though they're going to say they're the ones being persecuted, they're the ones being oppressed, it's very clear by looking at this ruling, the Hobby Lobby ruling, they are 100% the protected class.
A privileged class in America, and it's not what the founders had in mind, and none of them were Christians. Like these assholes are Christians, at least.
Right. Would not be recognized.
It would not be recognized as
Christians
by these evangelists today. There was no such thing as an evangelist back then.
Yeah. Read Thomas Jefferson. That was Thomas Jefferson? Yeah. Read Thomas Jefferson's Bible and tell me that's someone that would be recognized as a Christian today.
Right? Read half of it in Thomas Paine's writings. I mean, any of those deists from the upper class in the day. A few of them identified as Christian, but those old mainline Protestant sects were on their way to, to righteous agnosticism anyway. The Lord helps those who help themselves. That's what those Puritans used to say in New England, like John Adams. Yeah, I'm a Christian. The Lord helps those who help themselves. That's saying nothing going to happen if you don't do it. That's basically
thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, it's basically an admission that there's no help out there for you. So get the hell up off your ass and do it yourself.
Hello, my name is Sir Hugo Bottomsley Upton, and this is the Limericists. Today's limerick is brought to us by a countryman, and OG Limericist straight from the pubs of Whitechapel. It's very exciting. Please welcome, with his limerick, Squab Job, my good friend, Limey Rick.
Right, thank you, Sir Hugo, you great leaping poofter. Here goes. Right, I never felt so much a pigeon as when I subscribed to religion. The colouring frock of his swallowing cock, I don't miss it, not even a smidgen. I don't.
This has been the Limericists. Until next time, I'm Sir Hugo Bottomsley Upton. Good day.
Anthony Bourdain kills himself as we do this recording. I always had the impression that he was probably an atheist, but I don't know if anybody.
Yeah, I believe so.
That. Yeah, right. So, what the hell was that about, man?
Yeah, I don't know. Certainly one of my favorite travel and food
Did you watch
shows.
that? Did you watch that show?
No Reservations, and
he was well liked.
Parts Unknown.
People really love the show. I've seen it a few times, and I don't watch a lot of stuff if it's not on HBO. But
he did seem like he might be a little unhappy, though.
He seemed like he was probably a dick. I you know what I mean? I got the idea that you probably wouldn't want to hang out with the guy. It just seemed like he thought he was smarter than everybody. But you
that's just because he's from New York.
You mentioned he had heroin background. I didn't know he had a background in heroin.
So I read
to me.
heroin
Well, I
and
guess
cocaine.
we're not here to cast aspersions, but
yeah, as far as I know, he was past that. I mean, who knows? What he was going
Takes
through.
its toll on you, though.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Anthony Bourdain. Must have been bored with his job.
Who wants free travel and food all over the world at the best restaurants? That gets, and then you got to go home to your regular life after that.
Well, like you said, maybe he just had that. He was in Shangri-La, had that perfect meal, and figured this doesn't get any better than this, man.
Yep, time to cash out.
See you later.
This is Burka Bunny from the Caranimals reminding you to vote secular or vote stupid.
Here now with secular news and events is Jojo Vandescoop.
Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin recently signed a law allowing public schools in Kentucky to offer Bible courses. The courses will be electives, not required, and the summary of the law states the purpose is to, quote, provide to students knowledge of biblical content, characters, poetry, and narratives that are prerequisites to understanding contemporary society and culture, unquote. The ACLU in Kentucky has expressed concern that the law is vague and that the state has not yet produced a curriculum for these classes. The state teachers union, the Kentucky Education Association, has not yet commented on the law. A federal judge in Arkansas has approved the merger of two separate lawsuits against the state regarding the constitutionality of a Ten Commandments statue near the state capitol. The monument was paid for by donations to the American History and Heritage Foundation, which was created by State Senator Jason Rappert of Conway. Rappert argues the monument is a gift to the state that represents the foundation of the laws and legal system of the United States and Arkansas. He says it is legal in accordance with a 2005 U.S. Supreme Court decision that a decades-old monument at the state capitol in Austin, Texas, didn't violate the Constitution because it conveyed historic and social meaning rather than an intrusive religious endorsement. An atheist poet and publisher in Bangladesh was shot dead by several men last month. Shahjahan Bachu was 65 years old and the former General Secretary of the Communist Party of Bangladesh. No suspects have been named, nor has any organization claimed responsibility for this heinous attack. The International Humanist and Ethical Union will be holding their annual conference in Auckland, New Zealand from August 3rd through 4th, 2018. Featured speakers include Nigerian human rights activist Leo Igwe and Gulalai Ismail, a human rights activist from Pakistan. Learn more about this conference at conference.humanist.nz.
That's all for Freethinker Falls. Get your asses back on the train. Vamos a los datos para la próxima. That means next stop is Los Datos, right? We're going to do an all-Spanish show featuring our Latino atheist friends. Join us again on the Atheist Underground next time.
Thank you for riding the Underground. Next stop, Los Datos. Los Datos is next.